In this week's video fishing forecast for New England, we got updates on albies, plenty of blackfish talk all across New England, mixed bottom fishing off Block Island, updates on the Coastal Kayak Clash, tiger trout in Connecticut, and much, much more. Let's check it out.
The fishing news is sponsored by these fine partners.
Hey there, Toby Lapinski for the New England edition of the Fisherman magazine with this week's video fishing forecast for New England. I'm out on the water today doing a little bit of black fishing. We'll get to that shortly. I'm going to start things off this week with an update on the Coastal Kayak Clash. Now, as I'm sure you're already aware, but hey, just in case you missed the details on it, this year the Fisherman magazine launched our first ever kayak-only fishing tournament, the Coastal Kayak Clash. Now, since back on May 1st, Fisherman magazine subscribers have been fishing the waters from New England all the way down through the Mid-Atlantic from a variety of different kayaks with the hopes of winning the grand prize kayak that we're giving away, which is a brand new Old Town Sportsman Series Autopilot 136, as well as some really awesome other prizes from the guys at Yak Lights, Humminbird, Malone Auto Racks, Penn, Yak Attack, Fenwick, and more. You can get all the details on the tournament, sign up, register, what have you, right now at thefisherman.com. But as far as entries, this week it was all about blackfish. That's why I'm out here on the water, and that's what we had coming in for the submissions. We got a bunch of blackfish updates coming in. Tog category got a bit of a shakeup, which adjusted the overall leaderboard a little bit. So as those blackfish entries, New England angler Scott Schneider shot up the standings by submitting several upgrades this week. He came in with a 21-inch fish, which he first bested with a 23 3/4-inch fish on Saturday, to which he followed it up on Sunday with an even larger fish of 24 1/4 inches. This put Scott in first place for the time being in the blackfish division. And we also received an entry from overall leader here from New England, Chris Neves. He entered a blackfish of his own, measuring a solid 21 1/2 inches, which is good for third place in the species category and puts him at 11 points overall, a little bit ahead of New Jersey subscriber Bob Wagner with 9 points, and then wrapping up the top three, fighting it out for that brand new kayak, is New England angler Justin Oser, who sits in third place with 5 points. But you know, it's not just about blackfish right now, which you need to be hunting from your kayak, as the October fish of the month species is bluefish. Now, what that means is the largest bluefish entered by a registered participant of the Coastal Kayak Clash this month will receive a $100 gift certificate to yakattack.com. Now, just so you know, we actually haven't received any bluefish entries this month, so it is wide open. So, I mean, technically, you could enter a snapper blue at this point and be in the running. Those blackfish anglers out there might be well advised to keep a rod rigged and ready in case some bluefish pop up, because it only takes one fish right now to get that fish of the month, and this is the one opportunity throughout the season that if your entry is not going to make the top three on the leaderboard, that you should still submit it for the fish of the month consideration. Again, check out thefisherman.com for complete details on the Coastal Kayak Clash, and good luck to everybody out there. All right, moving on to the report, starting up in Massachusetts. False albacore bite seemed to kind of fizzle out a bit over the last week. The wind seemed to have broken the schools up. The bait is still there, but the schools of fish have been tough to find. They've been smaller, isolated pods, but nonetheless, I received an email from Lisa Wall with a photo of her first New England albie landed in Nantucket Sound. The big albie, weighed an impressive 12 pounds, which is not a bad start in the New England albie game. And then if you remember last week, I reported that Captain Jason Colby of Little Sister Charters was getting out for tog pretty much whenever the weather allowed, which in the week before wasn't as often as he would hope. Theme kind of continued this week. He lost a couple more days to the winds, but again, he snuck out when he could. On Saturday's trip, for instance, 8-year-old Adrian Spire, he drove out with his family from Amherst, Massachusetts, my old stomping grounds in Western Mass, showed Jason and the rest of the boat how to get in on the blackfish, got some really nice fish. Unfortunately, it was the only trip recently that they haven't been able to put together a full limit catch on Little Sister. It was a tough day. But Adrian's still stuck with it, got some nice fish, and had a good time, of course. Then another outing this week with Jason, Fisherman subscriber Justin Cooper. You've seen a bunch of times in reports over the last couple of years, submitting some really nice fish. Well, this time he was bottom fishing with Jason, and he took the drive down from Maine to fish with him, and they loaded up on some really nice white shinners. Now, Jason usually sails for blackfish, everything really, through roughly the end of Thanksgiving, so there's still time to get out with him. Of course, shoot him an email at fishinglsister@aol.com. Check what he's got available for open boat as well as private boat trips going forward. And then next up, bridging the gap from Massachusetts to Rhode Island, TJ Kopecki checks in once again with a great video report for us.
Thanks, Toby. Hey guys, nice to be back reporting again. I got to tell you, I had a couple outings this weekend and the previous week prior to this. Got to tell you, I left on Sunday to fish Breton Reef. We launched out of Patuxent Cove Marina. As soon as we got into the Providence River, it was about 7 o'clock in the morning. It was lights out, stripers everywhere, birds. So right off the get-go, we got our first fish in the boat. We continued up by Prudence, up into Newport to fish Breton Reef, and ran into an assortment of species of fish, from stripers to blues, chub mackerel again, albies were there, and then we did some bottom fishing for some tautog out on the reef, along with the 100 other boats that were out there. But I gotta tell you, the fishing's great in the bay. Out in front of Colt State Park, loaded with bait, lots of fish to catch out there. So if you can get out in the bay in your boat and do some fishing, there's probably only a couple weeks left of all that bait that's going to stay inside the bay. So for bottom fishing, I tell you, it's great everywhere, and I see reports of just some nice 6, 7, 8, 9, and even 10-pound fish being caught. If you need crabs, get them early. I talked to Manny at Lucky Bait, and I kind of fell victim to that too. I showed up and he didn't have any crabs left, so I had to hit another source. But hey, that's okay. But overall, it's been a good week. I also had a chance to fish the bridges in Warren and Barrington for stripers at night with bucktails, and I actually connected on a lot of fish. Lots of schools of big pogies inside of those rivers that were swimming up against the current, especially on the night of the new moon. So if you have a chance to do that, that's a great opportunity for a shore fisherman, and also casting into that current from behind the American Tourister is another great spot. So hey, if you have a chance to get out there this week, it's not going to last much longer, so tight lines.
Thanks a lot, TJ. A lot going on in that East Bay area for sure. Next up, sort of in the same waters, Fisherman subscriber Alan Sheriff was fishing for blackfish with the guys of Soundbound 3 off of Newport on Tuesday, when Alan got into an impressive blackfish, a solid 12-pounder. Now, you check this out. He sent a video over. It shows a clip of not just holding the fish, showing it off, but releasing it. So I got to say, big congratulations to you, Alan, for not only getting a double digit, but letting her swim away. Let's check it out. Again, nice job on the big fish as well as the release there, Alan. I fished you a couple of times. Maybe we'll be able to get out now this fall. Now, they entered the double-digit category for the blackfish. But again, if you don't have a boat of your own, good opportunity right now is to go on one of the party boats. For instance, the Francis fleet. They are currently sailing daily. Obviously, when the weather allows, like today, we've got a beautiful day, so I'm sure they're out there. And they're doing 2 trips right now. They're doing blackfish as well as a mixed bag cod, sea bass kind of deal for the different trips. Now, on the blackfish side of things, they report limits for most all anglers, with big fish topping out right around 10 pounds right now. They've been hitting rock piles, they've been hitting reefs. They said everything's been working, bait rigs, jigs, whatever. As long as you're putting a crab down there, there's plenty of fish to chew. These trips sail daily at 6 a.m. and of course, you got to do your reservations in advance at francisfleet.com. On the cod side of things, which is sailing daily at 7 a.m., they've been getting to a good mix of fish. Cod and sea bass primarily, cod to the mid-teens, sea bass to 5-6 pounds, and they're adding in, those big hubcap-sized porgies, some mega choggies. They get some winter flounder mixed in. Sometimes you'll have some bluefish, even some weak fish that show up. So it's a good mixed bag opportunity. Moving along into Connecticut, I'm out here right now blackfish, fishing for blackfish as the season is going strong. But First, I want to give you a reminder on the freshwater side of things. Connecticut Fisheries Division has a special tiger tamer trout promotion going on this fall. Told you about it a couple of weeks ago. I had the video from the guys over at the DEP Fisheries Division. Well, they've been stocking quite a few fish lately. Haven't really been able to get on the streams until this week. We finally got enough rain to push them up. Primarily, it's been in the lakes and ponds across the state. But nonetheless, thanks in part to support from the trout and salmon stamp, which we all pay for, the Fisheries Division plans to stock 3,000 tiger trout this fall in spots throughout the state. Now, the tiger trout, in case you're not aware, it's a cross with a male brook trout and a female brown. They grow faster. They're more aggressive than either of the parent species, making them great targets. You absolutely know it. When you hook into a tiger trout, it fights like a fish twice its size. And what's even better, they look awesome. Really, really cool coloring on them. Now, while they're not announcing exactly where they're putting the tiger trout, you can expect them to be mixed in with the standard stocking that they're doing throughout the fall. And of course, they're going to put them into the more popular fishing spots like the trout parks, which is where I took my son Aiden last week. We figured we'd give it a little shot. Went out for a couple of hours, and lo and behold, he got his first ever tiger trout. We took a photo of it, as you see right here, submitted to the DEP through the form at their website, and he's now eligible for an awesome tiger tamer shirt. Last I knew, they had about 300 shirts remaining, so get out there, try some tiger trout, be sure to take a photo, and then check with the DEP for the proper way to submit your form, and hopefully you'll get a shirt, but maybe you'll just let me get one first. And then back onto the salt. Talked to Captain Mike Roy of Reelcast Charters this week. We were going back and forth, sending some texts, checking to see how he was doing. He said he's been finding some pretty good blitzes of striped bass and bluefish with some albies mixed in, primarily feeding on small peanut bunker. But he's also been running into some adult bunker mid-sound. Of course, when he finds those adult bunker, bigger fish are not too far off. For instance, just last week, he had professional largemouth bass angler Mike Iconelli up from New Jersey fishing with Mike, and he got this really nice size striper. Mike's no stranger to the striper scene. He's fished with Mike Roy a bunch of times in the past, trying to work out a little something with Iconelli in the future. Maybe we can get him out in the surf or what have you, but we'll see. Stay tuned for that. But if stripers aren't your thing, you want to get on a tog like I'm doing here today, Captain Mike Roy has his boat outfitted with a Minn Kota trolling motor with spot lock, which is what we are using here today. It is awesome. If you haven't blackfished with a spot lock enabled boat, give Mike a call. You can hit him up 203-710-5116, or you can check out a cool new feature that we added to the new Fisherman.com. It's a book your trip feature. Now, it's available on all of our for-hire charter advertisers. Once you read their reports, get all their info, you can click book your trip. It sends an email right off to them, and you can check their current setup for what they've got going on for trips, what they got availability, get directly connected to the awesome advertiser we have here at the Fisherman Magazine. Getting onto those blackfish. My buddy Chris Garvin was out. He took his son Kyle. They've been fishing hard, trying to get in some entries for the Black Hall Outfitters annual Togtober tournament. Well, the duo went out Sunday morning. It was supposed to stay a bit calmer, a little longer, but nonetheless, they got some good fishing in before the winds kicked up, and Kyle had his first entry for the Togtober tournament, a solid 18-inch fish that weighed a little over 3 pounds. Now, unfortunately, it wasn't quite enough to get him on the leaderboard just yet, but I'm sure with these two amazing anglers getting out there, I know we were talking about getting out this week perhaps, they're gonna get on the board. You watch out for Kyle. Excellent angler, and dude, congrats on a nice catch. I also, over the weekend, talked to Fisherman Advertising Sales Manager Dale Nicholson. That's who actually I'm fishing with today. Well, he was out fishing outside of Niantic on Sunday. Gotten a decent pick of fish. They had some fish to 8 pounds. John Andrews got the big one on the day using those Joe Bags Lay Perfect jigs, which we're putting to good use today. Half green crab. So far today, for the two of us, I've been sticking with the Asian crabs. Dale's been using the cut green crabs. He's had a couple of the bigger fish, lost a real corker earlier, which is swimming around down there. We're still looking for it. So far today, the Asians have been producing, but the green crabs are producing the larger fish. So if nothing else, it always pays to have options when you're out here blackfishing. And then last up, going to finish off with Captain Greg of the Blackhawk. He's been doing a bit of mixed bag fall action, primarily sea bass with customers getting their easy limits. They're also getting some jumbo porgies, more and more cod with each trip, some winter flounder. They got a bunch of them, for instance, on last Thursday's trip, and they plan to fish daily, as with all the other head boats, every day that the conditions allow. I'm sure they're out here today. And of course, as always, you got to go to the website to book your trips, or once again, new feature at thefisherman.com, book your trip function, which will get you directly in touch with the folks over there at the Blackhawk to get out with that A1 group of anglers. All right, well, that's a lot going on. As always, of course, if I didn't get to your region, your species of choice, you can get all of the fishing reports from New England through the mid-Atlantic, right now at thefisherman.com.
Steigercraft boats, built by people who fish our waters. Serious anglers choose Steigercraft for their 40 years of boat building experience right here in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. Visit steigercraft.com for a dealer near you.